Hi, I'm Ailia Zehra. Welcome to Dissent today. In this video, I'm going to share some quick thoughts with you about the way Pakistani media has covered the recent developments in US-Pakistan relations. We know that so much has happened in recent months around US-Pakistan relations. Recently, there was a meeting between Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, Army Chief Asim Munir, and President Donald Trump. The two leaders were in Washington for the meeting, and it took place at the White House. Before the meeting and after the meeting, Trump praised the two leaders, especially Asim Munir. Before that, he broke all protocol to welcome Asim Munir to the White House. So much has happened. Now, the Pakistani media, when it covers Trump's outreach to Pakistan, they do so with some excitement and very enthusiastically. But I think that that coverage is missing a few key details that I think should be mentioned, and they are important for broader context. One thing that the Pakistani media outlets don't mention while covering these developments and these high-level engagements between Pakistan and the US is that this pivot where Trump is criticizing India, imposing tariffs on the country, issuing threats to the country, and re-engaging with Pakistan instead. This position is not very popular domestically. Within the US, you have policymakers, analysts who are not happy with this approach that Trump is taking. And he has sparked backlash among his critics, Democrats who say that he's alienating key US allies. So I think this domestic resistance that Trump is facing is very relevant to this discussion about US Pakistan relations because it means that this sort of pro Pakistan posture that we're seeing from Trump right now may not be long term or sustainable. So the Pakistani media should give this context to its audience, and he's very unpredictable. Um, all of these factors that might affect the future of US-Pakistan relations should feature in the Pakistani media's coverage. Within the US, there is a term called taco. Trump always chickens out. That was coined mockingly by some Wall Street investors, Trump's critics, because he would often reverse his tariffs threats and he just kept extending his own deadlines. He didn't really follow through on some of the tariff threats that he had made. So they to mark him for that inconsistency, they came up with this term taco, which is now often used by his critics to mock his inconsistency. That I think is again, this is what his reputation is in the US, right? So this needs to be mentioned. This needs to be featured in the Pakistani media's coverage. Secondly, we have seen that Trump has repeatedly confirmed Pakistan's version of the May conflict with India, saying that jets were being shot down during that conflict and that the US brokered a ceasefire between the two countries. That is what Pakistan's position is, but India strongly denies it. India says that the US had nothing to do with the ceasefire. Pakistan says that it was actually the US president who brokered that ceasefire, and for that, Pakistan even nominated him for a Nobel Peace Prize. Every time, and Trump has confirmed, sort of endorsed Pakistan's position several times during multiple occasions and his press conferences. Pakistani media and journalists, whenever they report a Trump statement where he's confirming Pakistan's side, they do so. Uh, in a very, we get very excited that U.S. president has once again confirmed Pakistan's position. But another key detail I think that is missing is that Trump's statements are often considered, they're later proven to be exaggerated or false. What is his reputation when it comes to making these claims? Not very good. His own, people who had previously been his supporters, even they think that he often says things that are factually incorrect. Some people have also raised concerns that he may be facing cognitive decline. He's showing signs of cognitive decline. Some people say that. He within the US media, there is a huge conversation and a debate going on about how to fact check this president because the amount of unproven things that he says, it's a huge problem, for journalists who cover him, because it's getting difficult to decide if he should be fact checked live, because a lot of things that he says during press conferences, they're not just based on unproven claims, but some of the things that some of the rhetoric that he uses is also dangerous, and so journalists are having a hard time um, covering this presidency, fact checking his claims. He often says things that are difficult to prove, right? He exaggerates stuff also. He's also recently, there were times when he just forgot some key world events and just misspoke a lot of like important stuff. So that is a concern, obviously, within the US. People are saying that he's obviously old, so that may be the reason. But the point here that I'm trying to make is that his statements are not easily believed, given his track record. He's not considered somebody who can be trusted, So unless his statements are backed by evidence, the Pakistani media or any media from any country should not report them as the gospel truth. But unfortunately, that's what seems to be happening in the Pakistani media. Every time he makes a statement saying jets were shot down, I brokered a ceasefire, I deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, Pakistani journalists rush to share and repost and report on those statements without giving the broader context about other facts of them, but the fact that it was denied by India, the fact that we don't really know what happened. Independent verification is not really hasn't been done yet. I mean, maybe years from now, when somebody who was involved in the process writes a book about it, we might find out what exactly happened. But right now, nothing is independently verified when it comes to the ceasefire, because we have different versions. Pakistan says one thing, India says one thing. So that context, I think, is missing, and I think that's a problem, because journalists should not. A journalist's job is not to parrot a government's claim. Even if your country's position has been validated by a US president, you should not report it without questioning it. You should try to get to the bottom of things, because that's what a journalist is supposed to do. So, Pakistani media should give its audience a fuller picture, a broader context, as it covers the recent developments in US Pakistan relations, because only then can we make an objective sort of assessment about the sustainability and the future of these recent re engagements between Pakistan and the US. Thanks for watching.